Thank you very much for joining us. This is Serious Matters, and my name is Olukunle Abraham. And of course, we're going to be looking at this suit that has been placed by a businessman in the United States, telling a U.S. court that our own Aliko Dangote, actually drugged and raped his wife to steal his business techniques. And I personally had looked at it, and I'm wondering why this is coming up at this time. Why hadn't it come up long time before now? Could this just be one of those times that people who are in the limelight, what they go through, by reason of being sued, so that they could be pulled down or dropped in the in the class of the wealthy, but then it's now coming now by this man, this businessman, who is saying that Dangote actually stole I beg your pardon that Dangote actually stole his business technique by drugging his wife and raping his wife, and so by that he actually sued him in a U.S. courts, filing the suits against him, and of course what has he alleged that he did. And so we'll be looking at that in this particular edition and see what he has said he did. Nigerian business magnate Aliko Dangote was involved in alleged rape and psychological manipulation of the wife of a businessman. His name is Kevin Ajenifuja, with an intention to steal his trade secrets. Court documents obtained by People Gazelle, credits to them, said Mr. Ajenifuja said he had developed the technique and process of a sector exchange traded fund for Africa in June 2004. After over 10 years of research, in a lawsuit filed by the businessman on August 2nd, 2019, Mr. Dangote allegedly made arrangements on how Mr. Ajenifuja's 22-week pregnant wife was drugged and how young men slept with her with the intention of stealing his secrets. I've looked at it, and because this is serious matters, we have we look at things typically, and we see how possible what could warrant that at such a time like this, because one is wondering why would he have to arrange that his wife be raped for him to be able to steal his business trade secret. Okay, let's assume that because he's his wife, does that mean that his wife has his business trade secret? Okay, let's assume that she has a business trade secret. Is it by sleeping with her, or with some weeks pregnancy in her that will now make that possible? We're going to have to look at this together so that we don't get anything wrong here. Mr. Ajenifuja alleged that Mr. Dangote connived with some World Bank Group employees precisely on February 8, 2010 to invite his then wife to a meeting at a Catholic mission in Washington, D.C. area where she was allegedly given illicit drug. The Gazelle also learned in the lawsuits that Miss Anita was also given opioid medications on a regular basis, which she became addicted to on a regular basis. And that's, looks to me very unreal. Why on a regular basis? She subsequently engaged in extramarital affairs with young men near Washington, and the troubling situation was subsequently used to blackmail her into turning against her husband until she handed over his trade secrets to Mr. Dangote. Dangote's name has been in the limelight for quite some time, was touching the economy of West Africa, and of course is on the list of Forbes, touching the richest men in the whole world, and so of course he's the richest man in Africa. And so the World Bank denied the allegation, and the court rejected Mr. Jenefuja's lawsuit because it was status bound. It was statutes bad. A spokesperson for Mr. Dangote declined comments about the lawsuit when reached by our reporters on Wednesday afternoon. The businessman only confirmed the theft of his trade secrets in December 2016 after several investigations. While Africa's richest man's alleged action caused issues between the plaintiff and his wife, Mr. Dangote resigned as the president of the Nigerian Stock Exchange in 2014, a year before the expiration of his term, to conceal his involvements, the lawsuit said. Mr. Dangote took many by surprise in 2014 when he announced his intention to step down as the president during the 53rd annual meeting of the NSE held in Lagos. Quite a lot of things coming up here, making him the first to step down before the end of his term. Well, looking at it from another hand, could it be that his schedule could not meet up again? He was becoming much busier than before. On information and belief, defendant Dangote resigned to conceal his involvement in what happened to plaintiff Anita Kopke. Mr. Jenefuja said in that court document, Mr. Dangote had cited the need to have more time for the execution of his company's expansion across Africa as the basis for his resignation, which of course came to mind also when I was doing my own research as to what actually transpired. Mr. Jenefuja then said it was around December 28th, 2014 that he searched for the missing copies of the trade secrets and suspected that they had been stolen by Mr. Dangote via his then wife Anita. Mr. Jenefuja alleged that the trade secrets were sold to Vetiver Fund Managers Limited, Lagos, one Mr. Dangote had a close business relationship with. Vetiver sector series exchange traded funds comprising the Vetiver Banking ETF, Vetiver Consumers Good ETF, and Vetiver Industrial ETF was announced on July 7, 2015. A spokesperson for Vetiver could not be reached for comments throughout Wednesday. Mr. Jenefuja said the affairs caused several emotional suffering because his home was first closed by the mortgage company as a result of loss of income. The document said. Mr. Jenefuja also demanded $1 billion as the least compensatory damage against Mr. Dangote and others for the alleged theft of his business secrets. In their separate motions, the WBG sought to dismiss the case on the ground that it was immune from suits, while Mr. Dangote and Onyema sought for dismissal for lack of personal jurisdiction. Well, one, like I had said earlier on, one might still have to look into this and see what could have brought about, this whole thing, because it's almost the norm. People of that caliber would always have one issue or the other, along the line, people coming up with all sort of issues, but then let's see how this goes. Whatever way it goes, we're going to give you an update on what happens eventually. But then, till then, it's still serious matters here from ONIF TV. Thank you very much for watching, and of course, do share and drop your comments.